Hello everybody, welcome back to my show, The John Hardy Show, and I love doing this, and I know that you love it because you listen, watch and observe, and it's fantastic. And we've got some really cool stories to tell, some really cool people to interview. One of those will be Peter Trenaman from Groupsupport, and we'll be back in just a short while to tell you more about that. Here we are, everybody, on the John Hardy Show with my very special guest, Peter Trenaman from Groupsupport. It is great having you in the studio, Peter.
How are you, John?
I'm really well. And
Excellent.
What about yourself?
Fighting fit, raring to go.
Great. So, Groupsupport, I know what it is, and it's got some interesting things that it does. So, tell us about Groupsupport and how did it start?
We do business software and IT solutions. We do computers, networking, cabling, connections to the internet and phones and things like that, servers, and also application support so that we provide an integrated solution for the client. So more than just something from a brand name shop on the high street, using an English term for you.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
or, you know,
yes.
Something a bit better than that, you know, and we do some of the hard things too. We started, my business partner and I met just after 2000, and we'd find each other at opposite ends of the same project on a regular basis. And after 4 or 5 years, our existing occupations and places of work sort of deteriorated to the point where we thought, well, we can do this better. So in 2006, we sort of started Groupsupport and have been going since then.
Okay. So did it start with some particular value sets and culture sets about it, or did it just jump in the business world and have a go and then let's see how it works?
Oh, and there is part of that because all my family and my role models within my contacts at those points were never entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And I've found myself warming to that and growing into that role quite adequately. And I reckon I do a reasonable job. I'm not a Richard Branson, you know, that's not me. But at the same time, I understand the concepts of business and keep that fairly well. Understanding all that and seeing behind the scenes and seeing what business owners want to get there, to get to the point where the platform that they're using is able to launch their business. If you're constantly having to worry about whether the printer's actually working and, you know, the CEO changing a printer cartridge or you know, bouching the laptop on the desk because it's not working properly, that's the IT people haven't done their job. So you need that platform, and that platform is becoming ever more complex and in the same way ever more simple. And so the idea is to push the complexities and the integrated nature of the whole solution into the background so that the interface and the presentation to the client, which is the customer, is simple enough to manage on a day-to-day basis so they forget about it.
Yeah. So you are a business to business.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
And you're dealing with businesses and you see them do what?
We see them do things like a good story, which is one I love, is a company down in Rockingham. There's about 20 employees, 25 employees, so 15 or so out in the workshop doing stuff, some salespeople and 5 or 6 close-knit people in the office, 3 admin girls. All 3 admin girls were of a young married sort of age, and one of them fell pregnant. Now the director could see the writing on the wall. The others were going to go too. So he needed to do something, not only to keep these girls together and to keep the knowledge that they had, but also to make sure the business didn't suffer because they're pursuing their natural life course. You know, you know, young married ladies have babies. That's,
yeah, absolutely.
You know,
yeah, it's great.
So he came to us and we talked about all the things he could possibly do, and over a course of 12 months, automated the system and has further automated the system since then, so that now the 3 ladies are still employed. Okay, this is nearly 10 years later. Okay, they're still employed on a part-time basis. They run 1.5 FTE, full-time equivalents, and keep the business going, off-site, on-site, They manage the time zones and time frames, all that sort of stuff, and he just knows that the admin department will work.
So you are a specialist in the ICT world, is that right?
ICT is information and communications technology.
Yeah.
Yes, it's putting the hardware and the software together, a bit like the recording studio
Yes.
here. Anybody can have a microphone or a camera, but it's actually making it come alive, like you do, John.
Yes, thank you, absolutely. So tell me a bad story.
A bad story. A situation where a client had assumed backup was working properly, got a virus because of lax security, didn't follow some of our instructions, but we got the blame because the backup wasn't 100%. But I always say to my clients, and I repeat it over and over again, and for some reason that just message wasn't pushed forward to them often enough, this is a partnership. We don't take ownership of your business. We help you with your business. So we can supply all the emails and communications for your backups. Okay? And they ended up getting about 95% back, but after some pain.
Yeah.
And there's a fair bit of pain and a fair bit of expense to actually recover all that information. And we have specialists who do all that sort of salvage work, that's all you can call it.
Yeah.
But we've kept the client as for our application support and lost the client as a network and systems.
Yeah.
Which is a bit sad, but at the same time, lesson learnt.
Yeah.
And in business, there's always a learning phase. So I learn and I love learning from people who want to do new things, and I also learn very much from my own mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me a good story and a bad story about business principles that you've done well and you've not done quite so well. This is about you in business.
We had a series of a client with a series of expanding offices, and they'd gone from sort of 1 to 2 to 4. And we were keeping up and doing things, but we just couldn't find the staff to service the client, and so we had to hand them over to a bigger IT company, who basically took them for a ride. And I became a consultant for them for several years. But I would have loved to actually been able to keep that client. But I didn't act dynamically enough, quickly enough with staff. And that's one of the big things about customer service and having the right team in place, is to make sure that the staff that you pick and the staff that you've got are long-term.
Yes.
You save on education and all that sort of stuff. You build relationships.
Yes.
Because I love having long-term relationships with clients.
Yeah.
You know, the short ones where you do a transaction and goodbye, they're quite expensive in the long run. Okay? You want to keep a long-term relationship with the client. And so that takes a special type of person in the support world.
So that was a mistake, not acting quick enough?
We were doing everything that we needed to do as far as servicing the client, but the client was growing faster than we could handle.
Okay.
So a regret rather than a bad thing.
Okay, yeah.
You know, more a regret. But at the same time, I don't think I could have, as a business owner, could have actually coped with things at that point.
Yes.
Home life I've got 3 teenagers at the moment. The first one's gone, left home, launched, you know. The other 2 are sort of being kicked out the door, you know, or being gently herded, I think is the way their mother would like to hear. So that time of my life, you know, several years ago was a little bit hard with teenagers going through that difficult time. So mental energy, I'm not sure I could have coped.
Yes.
Which is a life lesson, and it's all about the long term.
Yes.
You know, I didn't make any, I didn't burn any bridges, didn't create any enemies or create any sour feelings. It was a case of, well, I can't do this.
Yes.
You know, at this level, so more a regret.
And it's interesting that even in business, we are a holistic person, and we've got our own person. We've got our family relationships, we've got our business relationships,
Absolutely.
our client relationships. There's a whole bunch going on, and we can't dichotomise from those, can we?
No.
We've got to really, they really have interesting impacts. So what's been a powerful principle that you operate as a business leader, business owner?
First and foremost would be being available.
Okay.
Being available to staff.
Yep.
My phone is on. End of story.
Yep.
You know, if you call me at 8:30 on a Saturday night, perhaps I may not be at my best.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yes.
But I'll still be there.
Wow.
You know. So, and I have clients and staff who work all sorts of hours.
Yeah.
For all sorts of reasons. We have retail clients who work until 9 o'clock each night. You know, I've got workshop and industry clients who they start at 6. You know, we've got clients over east who start at 6 in the morning, and that's hard.
Because that's 4 here, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it becomes 3 in
3
summer.
in summer, yes. Yeah.
So that becomes a bit hard. So we sort of negotiate rules and availability there. But at the same time, once the office opens, I can divert my phone and push it off and take a bit of a breather. So quite often, one of the big things is I've found that in order to have that balance for me, I play golf during the week.
All right.
Okay. While the office is open, I can handball my phone.
Yes.
Divert everything that's not important.
So why do you play golf? What's that?
I
What's
love
that
golf.
do? Okay.
You have to concentrate on 3 things.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Head over the ball, swing through, and breathe.
Okay.
And everything else disappears.
Wow.
There's no technicals.
Okay.
There's no technology.
Yeah.
It's just you and the ball.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I like walking.
Yeah.
I've pursued other things with walking as well. So I like walking. So walking 6 or 7 kilometres on a golf course is no problem at all. Yeah. And of course you get the beer at the end. You know.
Yes.
That always makes things better. So yeah, but it gets me outside, and really I'm not too fussed if it's raining or not.
Yeah. Okay.
When it's really hot, nah.
Yeah.
But you know, it gets me outside.
And it's interesting what we need to do for ourselves, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So tell me what that does for you, for yourself.
Oh, it refreshes me.
Yes.
You know, sitting behind a screen and sitting inside in air conditioning, because that's where computers are.
Yeah.
It takes something out of you.
Yeah.
You know, on the long term.
Yes.
And you need a balance.
Yes.
You need a balance. So I was brought up in the wheat belt. So liking to see big sky, you know, open country, and one of the reasons that my wife and I moved back to Australia was because of that big sky. You know, I need to see the horizon on a regular basis. And being out in the golf course, you do. You see the sun and the wind, and, you know, you feel the sun and the wind, and you see the horizon, see the, you know, animals. You know, one of the local golf courses I played, there's bandicoots on one of the holes.
That's really cool.
So you bring your cart round, and if you're quiet, as you turn the corner for the tee, the bandicoots scurry out the way.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant.
That's really cool, yes.
You know, and those sort of little things that are just...
Yeah. So what's the big challenge for group support?
There's a big thing about disruptive technology.
Yes.
And disruptive technology disrupts IT companies as well.
Yeah, okay.
So the first essence is cloud computing, okay? And there's several facets of cloud computing that aren't ideal for everybody. But everybody wants to go on that bandwagon because it's exciting. But the people who produce cloud computing don't do it because it's cheaper. They do it to make money, consistent, regular money for cash flow. So it's a case of budgeting sometimes. And when it doesn't always work for everybody. The Australian government has released some of those data sovereignty rules so that the locations for data is now a little bit wider, you know. Children's court things, juvenile justice, those sort of things still can't leave the state.
Okay, right.
Police, medical and legal things can be stored somewhere else in Australia, but they can't leave the country. Yeah. So when you're talking about cloud, you have to find out where the actual servers are, because cloud isn't sort of Neverland. Yeah. It's just a server in another spot.
That's right. Yes.
You know, and some people don't realise that.
Yes, that's right.
So one of the challenges is actually explaining things, and I was speaking to you before the cameras started. But quite often, 90% of the time, I'm explaining technology and concepts and its application to the business.
Because you're in the space, and most of us are not in that space. It's
That's right.
part of our space, so you really need to help us understand that.
That's it.
How do you simplify that? Because even some of the language you've used can be a little bit, what was that Peter said? You know, so how do you help us simplify it so we can actually get on the same page so you can actually help us?
In simple terms,
Yeah.
watching your face.
Okay.
And
Okay.
IT is becoming more about a human relationship.
Okay.
Because if I say something and you're not clear, you'll flicker, you'll
Yes.
question, you'll
Mhm.
you know, sort of the eyebrows will go, the facial
Mhm.
expressions will tell me what I need to come back to.
Yes.
And so sometimes
Yes.
completing the concept, you know, sort of a phrase for a concept, I need to come back and then touch on
Yeah.
different things. And
Yeah.
each person's different. It's a bit like seeing the flashing lights in a car yard.
Mm-hmm.
The flashing lights tell you, oh, look, and
Yes.
there's a nice red Camaro out the front.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
beautiful. It's out of your price range.
Yes.
It doesn't suit what you want out of a vehicle.
Mhm.
And you have to go and look at every car and what's under the bonnet.
Mhm.
It's, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't always match.
Yeah.
Finding something to your price bracket and to your purpose. You know, you don't buy a Ferrari to put, you know, to tow
Yeah.
a caravan.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
those sort of things. So there's a lot of different facets, and a lot of it is using analogies. And that's one thing I love doing. And my travels around the world, my experience in life, has given me a lot of ability to understand and talk about analogies and use analogies to actually explain things.
Now, you also have something interesting in your business, that you have a business partner. Because sometimes it's the business owner.
Yeah.
But tell us about that partnership. How
That's
yeah.
like every partnership, it's on and off.
Yes.
As in, you have your good days and your bad days.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, I've known Dale for nearly 18 years. And we've been in business for, this is our 13th year, in 2018,
Yeah.
13th year. We quite often have diametrically opposed opinions. We think about things differently, but more often than not, and I'm talking 90, 95%,
Yeah.
we come to the same conclusion.
Okay.
So it's two different paths
Yes.
to the same conclusion. So when we're talking to a client, Dal's got an accounting background,
Mm-hmm.
and my background is data centres and production. You
Right.
know.
Yep.
So I've worked in factories, and I've worked, you know, on a lathe, and I've worked on a mill, and you know, those sort of things. So I understand that production side, the stock side, all that sort of thing, and I understand computers and data centres and those sort of things. Dal understands processes and procedures and accounting and dollars and you know, the difference and the contrast between balance sheet and profit and loss. All those things.
Yep.
And so we match each other.
That's great.
And it's in the times when we are not in agreement
Yes.
that all of a sudden you realise, hang on, we're better together than we are apart. And it's a bit like a marriage, and it sounds like that.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's a long-term relationship. We started the company in 2006 with 2 clients. We still have both those 2 clients.
That's great.
Okay. We've got up to 12 staff. We're sitting at 8 at the moment. So
tell me about the robust nature of the documentation.
that's we have 3 levels of documentation.
Yes.
One is customer facing.
Yes.
And that is for legals and agreements and all that sort of stuff. So quotes, purchase orders, confidentiality agreements, all that sort of stuff. And that is signed and sealed by Dal and I, signed off, and that's, you know, irrespective of what goes on. Behind the scenes, we've got 2 levels. One is procedures.
Yes.
And one is our wiki. Now, in IT...
Okay, yes.
Okay, Google can't be trusted. Google cannot...
Okay.
Google is often wrong.
Yes, okay.
Because if you imagine, Google is 60,000 opinions coming through to you.
Yep.
Now, you've been in the car listening to the radio before, and they're talking about something, and you've got an opinion, and you think, that's right. And then you get these people with these other opinions, and you may vary your opinion between, that's an absolute load of whatever. And yes, I agree with them, or that's different, or rubbish. You know, all those things. Well, Google's like that. So don't ever believe everything you see on Google. And in fact, that old adage of only believing 70% of what you see and 30% of what you hear. Google's about 50%.
Yeah.
You know.
So you've got to
we've
have
got our own wiki,
yes.
our own
Yes.
Google internally.
Yes.
Okay. That has some accurate stuff.
So you've got a strength in your partnership, you've got strength in your documentation, and you've got strength in the delivery because you know the space of yes.
And seeing and working with business owners and seeing what they're doing with their documentation and their procedures, we quite often lend a little bit of that to flavour our and strengthen our business.
So how can we today help businesses listening to us from the IT or ICT world? What can we do to say today?
Single biggest thing.
Yes.
Find a trusted person who you understand, who you don't necessarily agree with, but who can explain what's going on.
Yep.
Okay? It doesn't matter whether you agree with them or not.
Yep.
If you understand what they're saying and they are speaking the truth when it comes to explaining something or finding a relevance, you can make your own mind up.
Yep.
I mean, and any other business owner can make their own mind up. But the idea is having someone to explain and understand what they're saying, so they're not just talking gobbledygook, and they're separating out the bright shiny lights, okay, with the gems that are inside. That's the first thing. A trusted resource. And the second thing is backups and protection.
Yes.
You know,
backups and protection.
Once you've got something in place, protect it.
Yeah, mine's doing it right now. When I left the office, I pressed the button, remind myself, just checking what's happening. I'm going to get my IT guys to go on site on my thing. They've got access. Go and have a look. Am I everything right? It's really important.
That's it. Really important. So
very cool.
No matter what else you do in business, there's two things: where are you going forward, and how are you getting the advice to go forward? So that's where you need your trusted person to help you. I mean, I'm not a business planner, but I work with people like you to say, this is our vision, this is our castle in the sky. How do we get there?
Yes.
And then once you've got those steps in place, protect it.
Fantastic.
Back it up.
Well, Peter from Groupsupport here in Perth, Western Australia, you are one of those trusted people, aren't you?
Apparently so. Yes. It's something you have to work at every day.
You do, yes.
You know, trust is something that is earned and is maintained.
Absolutely. So I would certainly see you in that category, Peter.
Thank you.
And it's really been great having you in the studio today, telling your story, what you're doing in Groupsupport and how you're helping businesses in the IT and ICT world so they can get the solutions that they need to do what? So they can do business better.
That's it.
It's really cool, isn't it?
Thanks,
Thank you so much for being in the studio.
Thank you.